Hey guys, it's Jen from ScanNCut Canvas and Scal Help on Facebook. I'm going to try to capture this for you. I know I usually have the on-screen videos and that works better, but I have to split them apart and do an on-screen and then a camera capture. Okay, so, oh, that looks crappy. Well, there, that's a little bit better. Okay, so here, try to get this for you here. Here is get all that stuff out of the way. Here is my original font, my line, my statement that I want. On the back of the shirt, adjust the camera. Okay. And then I have all of this that's going to go behind it. It's going to give it the layered look like all of you want in your HTV, your heat transfer vinyl. This will also work in regular vinyl and also stacked cards if you want it, but stacked cards really doesn't matter. You don't have to trim this out. You actually want it to be filled in. Okay, so what I did is I typed this all out, got it all unioned. I came up here in effects, the shadow layer, okay, and then this screen popped up. Okay, well, you can see there's a tiny, maybe you can't see it. Oh, I don't like this. Okay, there was a tiny little layer that popped up, and you'll see it as I increase it here. Okay, oh, see that? Back it out so you can see the numbers. Okay, so it went to 140.140. No, that's not what I want. I don't want it that wide right yet, I don't think. Let's take it down to 0.7. That looks a little bit better. Okay, layer count right here, I took it up to 3, but you can judge and adjust it to whatever you want. Okay, so I'm finished with that box right now. Does that look good enough for what you want? You decide. If you want it a little thicker, adjust it right here. You can use the slider and watch the numbers. See, it makes it a little thicker. So you pick, you decide how thick you want those shadow layers to be. Okay, I'm just going to exit out of all that because, oops, I don't need it. So I'm going to, oh, it stopped working. Which means it's going to shut down and close out, which is okay. I'll start it back up. I'll pause and come back. Okay, so we're back. Let me try to focus this again. Oh, this is a pain in the hiney. Okay. Well, now I need to start trimming it out, because when you work in HTV, you do not want layers. Like I posted on the page, it's like wearing a board. Okay, so okay, this is the one we want right now, and we want this underlayment. Oh, it's all stuck together. So we got to come up here and ungroup it. So I want this little guy and this little guy. And we'll move all of these back up here and get them out of our way for now. Okay, so let's take this, bring this back up here. We're going to highlight them all and make them even. I use the 2-page over here. This, click 2-page, and then click the middle ones. Okay, and that just evened them up. And get rid of the library. I don't need to see that. I'm going to put those to sleep for right now, and I do that. Sorry you guys, I really don't like this. I'm I'm trying though, I'm trying. I do that by over here on the layer page. And you can find this video, the putting the things to sleep. I do have those done up separately. You click on the eye and that puts that item to sleep. I'll put that one to sleep. Okay, this is the one I want to grab right now. So I just highlighted that one over here, and that's the one that's hidden behind. Okay, so that's hidden behind. Try to focus this in for you so you can see what I'm doing. But I want that to pop out here, so I come up to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. There it is. That came to the front. So I'm going to come up here to Object, Duplicate, because I'm going to need another one. Okay, so get that out of the way so I can work here. Select them all, so highlight them all, come up to Path, Back minus Front. And that's going to trim it out for us eventually. There we go. So this one is trimmed out. Bring them over here. Unclick, here we go again. Unclick the 2-page. Click these 2 buttons and that centers them together. Okay? We're going to come up here and click Object Group. Come back over and unclick our hidden sleeping items. We're going to grab this one now. Okay? So now this one, we got to come up here and duplicate it because we don't want to lose it. And now this one, select them all, come over to the thing and make them even. So you're doing that kind of 2-page, but remember the 2-page is not checked. Come up here, Path, Back minus Front, and wait 3 years. And you have a little bit of stuff in here, so take your eraser and let's come in here and erase all of this stuff. If not, when it's cutting your HTV, it's going to try to cut all of this stuff out, and you don't want that. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to erase all this because I don't want you guys sitting here wasting all your time. Okay, here we are. So now let's put all of this back together. Alright, so now what do we need to do? First of all, get it in the camera. We need to come up to Object, Duplicate, because we need another one of those. We come up here. That one. Oops, and we're going to select all of these, come over and center them both with each other. Come back, highlight all of them again, Path, Back minus Front. And that will give us the back cutout piece, the final layer. And of course it gives us all that wonderful stuff that again I will need to erase. But now you see that that is how you make a layered file for your HTV. And of course you can keep it all stacked up if you like. It's totally up to you, but I'm telling you, when you start layering HTV, if you can, because it's usually only regular HTV that you can layer. You never want to layer on top of glitter. It will come off. Even if it looks perfect when you press it, trust me, after a couple washes, it is going to come off. All of the HTV makers will even tell you, do not layer on top of glitter. You can layer glitter on top of regular HTV, but never layer on top of glitter. So if this is glitter, don't put anything on top of it. But you can put glitter on top of regular HTV. That's okay. I've even put I've put other HTV on top of the foil that I have. That's been fine, but it's just the glitter that gives it gives us kind of not so good outcomes when you put things on top of them. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clean up this little bit here. Then I'm going to cut it out and press it. But when you go to cut these, you can either send them all to other pages. Let me see if I can get them all on here. Let me center that on the page. To page center. Okay, I have my custom ScanNCut size mat, because remember, it's not a true 12 by 12. This is actually one of the new user videos that's in the pinned post. Nope, I'll have to make another page. So I can pull all of these on here, and I do it by the grids. I use the grid marks. So I'll try to line this up, yeah, perfectly. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then leave it at 4 here. There's the 4-inch grid mark. So I know I can put it at 4, between 4, 5, 6, 7. Between 4 and 8 will be this color right here. Between 1 and 4 will be this color. And then between 12, because I go backwards, between 12 and whatever that number is. Okay. Now to create the other page here in Sure Cuts a Lot, you come up to the green plus sign, push that, and it says cancel. Push the plus sign and you can add another page. Okay. And I will send this to that other page, and you do that by selecting what you want, coming over here to the layers part, clicking on these 3 or 4, however many lines it is, send to layer page, and then this little box comes up, and then it has the option, here's 4, so I'll send that to page 4. Come on page 4, and it goes directly to that page, wherever it was on this page. When you hit send to, it's going to send it to that page in the exact same spot it was on this page. Okay, so there it is. So now I just move it over, and there it is. Now when I go to save it, let me see. Okay, my stick is in here. I know that this is HTV, so what do I have to do? Anyone? Mirror it. So to mirror, I come up here to Object, Transform, Flip Horizontal Mirror, and that switches them all over. So I do that there. Object, Transform, Flip Horizontal Mirror. Okay, so let's go grab page 1. File, Export. Come up here, find My Stick, and it actually says My Stick. Change it to FCM. Yes, our cutters use SVGs, but I'm telling you, change it to an FCM. The SVGs take 10 years to open, so just do it quickly. Okay, so this was 3 layer. I'll just leave it 3 layer. Come over here, File, Export. My Stick is already up there. Come down to Save As Type, FCM. I'll type in layer 1 and just leave it at that. Alright, so now we are good to go over onto the ScanNCut. Okay, I lied. Here we are. Alright, so this one, this will be like the front of my t-shirt. Alright, has the name of our group, the name of our YouTube channel, and then just says, have you ScanNCut today? Alright, Well, it's in this color, but I can choose whatever color I want to use, okay? But I may want to do this out of glitter. So I'm going to shrink this down so that it's off of my dragonfly. So I don't have to worry about cutting that out. But I have to worry about trimming all this out. So what I have to do is I have to duplicate that entire piece, because I have to back minus front it. But you know, oh, I'm just gonna do this for you. Oh, that little stinky thing. Oh, maybe I'll do it again because I gotta delete it. Okay, I need to object, group it. Now pay really close attention to this. Okay, so now all that's grouped. I come up here, I'm going to back this out just a smidge. Come up here to my path. Look. Union's available, but my back minus front isn't. Why? Why can I not choose back minus front? I have this grouped, right? Why not? Because this is setting right here. When you use these path tools, these right up here, you can only have 2 items on your mat. Right now I have the dragonfly. I have this whole font set, but I have this down here as well. So let's get this off of here. So now let's try it. And there it is. Now it's available. Lots of people say that. Lots of people, it's not available. What did I do? What did I do? Well, you have to, and I don't care if you have 5,000 words on there, you have to group your words, and then whatever your object is, make sure that's grouped or it's just single. So then that is 1, 2 things. Make sure there is nothing else. I don't care if it's a period or a comma. It all has to be grouped as 1 thing, 2 things. If there's something else that's thrown in there into that mix that makes this the 3rd item, that path menu will not show up. It will not be available for you to use, okay? Alright, so now all I gotta do is drag all this stuff over and then mirror it. Alright, now on to the scan and cut. Okay, so here we are at the machine. There is my HTV. Shiny side down. Let me see if I can pull a little bit off. Okay, shiny side is down. Here is my extension cord coming out of my USB port. We highly recommend these because what that does is that protects your port. We only ever stick that in 1 time, so we're not going back and forth with our USB stick wearing that bad boy out. Okay, come down here. This is my lighted stick. When that light shows up, I know it's communicating with my scan and cut. I used to use ones that didn't have the light in there. Well, guess what? I would always get the message that your USB stick is not inserted, when I knew full and well it was. So, those are just some secrets that we use here at SCASH. SCASH is the abbreviation for the name of our group, Scan and Cut, Canvas, and Scal Help. Okay, so now let's get moving. Alright, so three layer. Okay. Let's go in here. Which one do I want out of pink? I have no idea. I'm going to delete that one because I don't want that one out of pink. And I'm going to delete that one. And when you delete it in this screen, it does not delete it from the file permanently. If you delete it from that very first screen, oh yes, it deletes it from your stick, so don't do that. We'll click OK, and I am actually going to set my blade depth so that it completely cuts through. Alright, I'm not going to kiss cut this. I am actually going to cut through this vinyl. Okay, so, and this is different. Normally, you want to just do a kiss cut and then weed it out. I'm not doing that. With this one, I'm actually going to cut through my, boy, that's must have glue on it. I'm going to actually pull my blade out, open it up, make sure there's no debris stuck in there. This is something I do every single time before I use my ScanNCut. I also look at the blade, make sure it doesn't look like it's chipped. I recommend to everybody to get a good magnifying glass, because if your blade is chipped, it's kind of hard to see sometimes. And you don't want a chipped blade. That'll just mess things up. Alright, so let's try, we're going to try a blade depth of 3. See what that gets us. Okay, let's go into our settings. Okay, so I change my blade depth and then I come into my settings to make sure everything is hunky-dory. Okay, I know I need to take my cut pressure to a -1. Okay, cut speed always at a 1, cut pressure always at a -1 for me. If I come in and I see my vinyl and I see any white pieces and it's not a white vinyl, I know I take my cut pressure down immediately. No questions asked. That's the first thing I do. Okay, so now let's cut. And start. Alright, so I'll come back and we'll see what we got. Okay. So, let me turn on the light here. So it looks like it's pretty good. There's a couple spots over here. So it looks like I need to go ahead and recalibrate my cut head again, because it cuts awesome on this left side. Sorry, it's always so hard to try to not get my arms and that in the picture. But do you see, I didn't want to have to start cutting up this beautiful sheet. So knowing that it's going to be a word, I didn't want to have to weed it, because I also have my transfer tape, and that's why I said if you can, go ahead and save your transfer tape, your heat transfer tape, so you can use it for things like this. But this being such a huge word, and it's also going to be layered, I don't want to have to weed all that crap. So just go ahead and set your stuff up so where you can cut through it. Oops, I guess I forgot to take the top part off. There. So now all I need to do is peel that off and keep cutting and finish cutting out all the rest of my stuff. And I'll just use my, hopefully this is in the dig on camera, I use my roll and scrape method. Get underneath there, roll, and start pulling. I love these pink scrapers. It makes my life so much easier. Oops, sorry about that. My kids start talking, don't realize I'm recording up here. Okay, so come on, kitty. Alright, so here's this one. I'm just going to go ahead and keep right on going through here. Just like this. Just take your scraper right along the edge here, and that'll start popping everything off. Okay, so here they all are. These are completely cut and layered. You can see there's some popping out. But the reason that I cut through these, you can see, this is actually a whole nother set. So I can put them together backwards. Okay, so instead of having the orange outlining the pink, I'll have the pink outlining the orange, and then yes, the green and the yellow will kind of be reversed too, but I'd have to cut them a little bit. I have to go in and cut a little bit differently, but that's the reason that I cut through them. Okay, so that I don't have to do any weeding. I just pull them up, pop the parts out. See, these are all popped out. I don't have any waste. I'm actually using every part of my HTV that way. So that's why I do cut throughs. And then I have my own, the transfer tape that I sell on the buy page. If I wanted to, I don't need to, because the pink, I could keep it all on the pink or on the green, whatever. But if I wanted to, I can't press this just like this because there's some that kind of stick out. But I can put it all together on one backing. Alright, but that's just a quick why I do it, because I'm sure there's a couple people saying, why do you cut through it? That's why, because that eliminates a lot of my waste, so I'm not weeding it. Let's see, let's take the green. Let me see if I can peel it out. That's going to be the first one. This green. Okay, let me see. Let me pull this yellow off of it. If I was to weed out the entire inside of this green, that's nothing but waste. I don't want to waste all of that. Alright, so I choose to cut through it, and then I place it on my transfer tape, so that I have a big piece of transfer tape instead of that little thin, you know, green piece just on its cut through carrier. So that's how I go about doing it. Alright, so I'm going to put all these in their places. I do have, oops, that fell off. I do have this one set up and ready to go too. And as you can see, it's cut out and good to go. When you cut it out, make sure you do this part. Make sure you lay it on here and make sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, you need to recut it, okay? But the important thing to remember is, once you have it on your stick, do not resize it. Okay, if you resize any part of this, you need to resize it all together as one. Because if I were to go in there and say, oh, I want this dragonfly a little smaller, if I resize that, that resizes this part, so it's not going to fit. Okay. All right, so let's head on down to the heat press. Okay, so here we are down where the press is. I have this laid out. So we'll get ready to press it. Now, I can't leave it like this, but what I did was I laid it on there to make sure everything is even. So I'm going to pull the blue off because the pink is still on the carrier sheet. And one thing that's important to remember when doing layers, you do not want to do the layer press at the time that is called for with your vinyl. So if my glitter says press it for 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it says, don't do that. You want to press it until you can peel it. And then, let me get through here. Press it until you can peel it, okay? Then peel it and let it completely cool, because you're going to be adding layer after layer after layer. So you're going to get the right amount of press time in there. Gosh darn it. There we go. So you're going to get the correct amount of press time in there. The only layer that you want to press for the correct amount of time is your last layer, okay? So just make sure you do that. So I'm going to go ahead and press this one. And I need to capture the top and bottom. See, now I have the 12 by 15 press, and already it's too small for me. So I need to get a larger press. So that's why we tell you, when you get a press, try to go almost too big. The minimum you want is a 12 by 15. And for me, this is too small. Okay. Let's see. Alright, so now I can peel all this off. And I found with pinks and purples, don't be afraid when they change color, because they will change color on you. These shirts, I mean, don't panic. Alright, so let's bring this back way over. And do not pre-wash your shirts. Anytime you wash the article, it becomes not new. So you can't actually sell it as new. Alright, so let's position this on here. Okay, you want to get this exact because you do not want your little corners to pop up. Okay. That's perfect. Okay, and I need to slide this up to capture everything. Slide it back down to capture everything. Okay. So I figured pretty quick, like here, I'll get myself a 16 by 21. And I watch my clock up here to count down. So that's how I tell it. And I also, when I press my HTV, I will turn my garment inside out. I will use my Teflon sheet, put it between the HTV and the garment, and I do a reverse press. And that also helps to seal the HTV down. Okay. And if you want, you can keep your sheets that you just used so that you can keep pressing them. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm turning my shirt inside out. Okay? So turn it inside out. Lay it back down. Put my Teflon sheet inside so that the shirt is completely protected and it's not going to stick to the other side. I don't want my front and back sticking together. So that's why it's good to, even if you have like a 12 by 15 press, get a 16 by 20 sheet of Teflon. It doesn't matter if it hangs over. Who cares? But it's always better to have bigger, just for cases like this. Okay, so I have my big old sheet of Teflon in there. Bring my design up. Okay. Bring my platen back over and press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that puts a really good seal on it. Again, not from the top, but from the underside where the actual adhesive is. Okay. And then I'm going to let it fully cool. But there is my layered glitter part. And I'll be back to do the other part. Okay, so now we're back to this multi-layered one. So, what one do we put down first? Well, you're going to put down the outer layer first. you're gonna, or the bottom layer. You're gonna put down the bottom layer first. So we're gonna put down this green first, okay? This is our first piece. I'm gonna lay this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just really quick spots of heat, because you don't want to singe this. Tack this and replace that and get that another quick shot of heat. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We'll let that cool, and I have actually really strong breeze blowing in my front window. So now we go to the next to the last layer. And we keep building upon that. So when you have your design at home, you're going to pull it all apart, and you're going to start with your lower layer, your bottom layers first. Okay. Alright, so that one's good. And it may take some tweaking with this, but don't be afraid to get in there and get your fingers into it. And we've finally got our 1.5 acre garden planted. Okay. And I'm gonna put this across some of the pieces that don't have a cover sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear that away. Okay. Alright, and this last piece, I have to come in here and pull the pink part off because I laid that in there. And I could leave it on there, but I don't want to run the risk of any tiny little piece sticking out. This piece, these. If there's any tiny little piece of that plastic carrier sticking out and I can't see it, and this orange catches it, it won't let that orange stick down, and it'll end up being an ugly mess. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this off and set it to the side. Trust me, it's way easier to just give it another press than it is to sit there and pick it out. Because yes, I've done that before. Not thinking, late at night, kid needs a shirt for the next day, told me at 10:30 at night. Yeah, one of them things. Okay. And I have noticed doing some pressing with things like this. Every now and then you will get some HTV that when you press it, it's almost like it squishes out and deforms. Okay, so everything is completely covered there. Oops. So I don't need to put any more on it. Press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I do have my Teflon sheet on the other side. Okay. And this one, I'll put that big piece of tape over it when I get it all laid in here. I'm hoping the breeze doesn't blow it off first. But layering vinyl is so much fun. And it's actually really, really easy to do. Okay, there we go. Our last press. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now you see how that pink changed colors? And that's completely fine. When it cools, it'll go right back to the color that it was. Alright, so there's our really cool shirt with a bunch of layers on it. Bring it in here a little bit. There you go. So that's how you do layers. It's really super easy. If you guys want, if you guys have scrap HTV and like an old junky hand towel, practice. Because you can actually make some really cool stuff. Then you can use like the rhinestones to do that scatter effect, you know, by, you don't even really need to do a pattern. You can just start hand placing them. Alright guys, if you have any questions at all, come and find me over at ScanNCut Canvas and Scal Help on Facebook. Thanks guys.